Assalamu alaikum class 10 students. Bete, as you know, we are doing chapter number 13. Okay, we are doing chapter number 3. Uh, Now we will discuss the topic today, types of joints. Okay, before that we have discussed the structure of bone. We have discussed the types of skeleton. We have discussed the parts of skeleton, which are bone and cartilage. And today we will discuss the joints, types of joint. First of all, question is that what is a joint? Okay, so first I will discuss the definition. A joint is the location at which two or more bones make contact. It is a location at which, look at your book, a joint is the location at which two or more bones make contact. Okay, they make contact. And what is the make contact? Joints allow movement and provide mechanical support. So they also allow movement and provide mechanical supports. So this is very important. A joint is the location at which two or more bones make contact. Two or more bones make contact where they are joined with each other. So they allow movement and provide mechanical support. So they allow movement and provide mechanical support. So joints can be classified on the basis of the degree of movements they allow. So joints can be classified. We can divide it into different categories on the basis of the degree of movements they allow. So what are they? Immovable joints, slightly movable joints, and movable joints. These are three types of joints. Okay, on the basis of their degree of movement they allow. So first is immovable joints, means they are fixed. Second is slightly movable joints, and the third is movable joints. So first we will discuss the immovable joints, where they are located in our body. Immovable joints means fixed, which are fixed, which do not move. So such joints allow no movement. For example, the joints between the skull bones. Yes, we also have seen that our skull is made by 8 cranial bones. Okay, and they are fixed. They are connected to each other, and they never allow any movement. And if you touch your head, you can feel that your skull is hard. So the good example of immovable joint is our skull bones. Second is slightly movable joints. These are joints which allow slightly movements, small movements. So such joints allow slight movements. For example, joints between the vertebra. Okay, so we all of know we have a vertebral column in our spinal cord, so we can bend, we can go right and left, up and down, due to our vertebra, but it helps to move slightly. Okay, so these are slightly movable joints. Now we will discuss the movable joints. What are these? Movable joints, they allow a variety of movements. Okay, so they allow a variety of movements. For example, shoulder joint, yes, hip joint, elbow joint, and knee joint. So there are many types of movable joints. So movable joints further divided into different types. Okay, so movable joints can be divided on the in different types, and they are hinge joints, ball and socket joint. Okay, so we will discuss the types of movable joints. The main types are hinge joints and ball and socket joint. Okay, first we will discuss the hinge joints. What are they? This is a type of movable joints because they allow a variety of movements. So hinge joints move back and forth like the hinge on a door and allow movements in one plane only. Its good example is knee and elbow are hinge joints because they help the movement back and forth. Okay, back and forth, and like the hinge on a door. Okay, as a door move back and forth and allow movements in one plane only, in one direction only. Its good examples are knee and elbow are hinge joints. Okay, after that, the second type of movable joint is ball and socket joints. ball and socket joint. You can see in the diagram. Okay, it's a good example of your hip joint. Okay, this is like a ball and this is like a socket, and this joint is fixed in this joint. Okay, so ball and socket joints allow movements in all directions. Definitely it can rotate, it can move in all directions, so it allow the movement in all directions. The hip and shoulder joints are ball and socket joints. As you can see, if you want to move your hands, you can move your arms, you can move your arms in a circular, in a round way. Okay, so ball and socket joints allow movement in all directions. And hip joints are movable joints, but they allow movement at one direction. For example, our knee and the elbow, they can move back and forth, but if we talk about the ball and socket joint, they allow movements in all directions. So its good examples are hip and shoulder joints. Now come to next. These are the types of joints. So look at here, the neck joint between vertebra column and head allows movement side to side. Can you think what would have happened if there are ball and socket joint? Definitely, if there are ball and socket joint, we have discussed in this paragraph that ball and socket joint allow movements in all directions. So if this joint was happen in our neck, so because of that, our neck can be moved in all directions. But we have which type of joint in our neck? The neck joint between vertebra column and head. It is between the vertebra column and head. So head has a fixed joint and vertebra column allows the slightly movement. So allows movement side to side. So we can move our neck in right and left properly, but we cannot see which thing is behind us. So if we have a ball and socket joint in our neck, so it allow movements in all direction, and because of that our neck can be moved in all directions. Okay, I hope you understand it. Now come to next page. Okay, come to next page. These are role of tendons and ligaments. This is very important. This chapter is very important for your board exams. I have told you short and long questions come from this chapter, especially long question answer come from this chapter. Okay, now we will discuss the role of tendons and ligament. Before starting it, we have to keep in our mind okay, what are tendons and what are ligaments. So tendons and ligaments are bands of connective tissues and made of collagen. Tendons, what are tendons? Tendons are bands of connective tissues in which collagen fiber are tightly packed. Okay. So look at the screen. It is given tendons and ligaments are bands of connective tissues. I have told you our bones are made by connective tissues made of collagen. Okay. So tendons are tough bands and attach muscles to bones. So underline it's a definition of tendon. Tendons are tough bands, hard bands, and attach muscle to bones. When a muscle contracts, tendon exerts a pulling force on the attached bone, which moves as a result. Okay. So what is the function of tendons? Okay, when a muscle contracts, okay, if we take an example of biceps and triceps, you can see it. This is a bone. Okay, okay, this is a bone, elbow joint, and these are muscle. Front muscles are called biceps, and the ventral muscles are called triceps. Okay, so these are the muscles. This is a bone, and this is a tendon. So these are tough bands attach muscles to bones. Okay, so these are the bands which attach the muscles to the bones. So this is a photograph of bicep muscles, and this is a muscle which is attached with our bone with a tough band, and this tough band is called a tendon. Okay, so when a muscle contracts, so you can see here a muscle is contract, squeeze. So at that time, a muscle contract, tendon exert a pulling force on the attachment. So tendon produce a pulling force, okay, when we want to pull something. Because of that, what do we do? What is our action? At that time, our bicep muscle is contract and tendons produce pulling force to the bone. So it is a tendon is a tough band, hard band, which connect muscle to a bone. Okay. Then come to a which moves a bone, which moves as a result. Ligaments are strong but flexible bands and join one bone to another at joints. But ligaments and the opposite side of tendons, ligaments are strong but flexible bands. We have discussed tendons are tough bands, okay, but ligaments are strong, okay, but flexible bands and join one bone to another at joints. So they prevent dislocation of bones at joints. Definitely our bones have a specific area to join. So ligaments help us to dislocation of the bone. So you can see in the diagram, this diagram is given, okay. You can see it's a structure, it's a body structure of your hand. You can see these are the joints of our fingers, okay. So we can see our bones can move, okay. We can hold things, we can throw things. So they play very important role. So these are connected with ligaments. So ligaments are strong but flexible joints, flexible muscles. So flexible bands. So they allow the movements and they prevent dislocation of bones. Okay, our bones are joined with each other, the muscles which are called ligaments. Okay, and they make the actual position of the bones at the same time. Now come to muscles and movement. What are muscles and movement? In board exam, this question come as a short question. Okay, what is the role of tendons and ligament? This can also come differentiate between tendons and ligament, and this can also write a note on tendons and ligaments. Okay, so this is short, but this is very important. So you have to learn and you have to write in your register. Now come to next topic. This is muscles and movement. Now we will discuss how our muscles move along with our bones in our body. So before starting this topic, first we will discuss the side boxes. Look at the side box. It is important to remember that muscles can only pull or contract, not push. So before starting the muscles, you have to keep in your mind that muscles can only pull or contract. They cannot push. So most activities in our body like standing, walking, running, playing, etc. require combined actions of several muscles. Yes, this is true. We cannot see inside our body, but this is true that most activities in our body, like when we are standing, walking, running, playing, at the time a combination of different muscles work inside our body. So muscles play very important role in our body. Okay. Now we will discuss the muscles in a detail. What are their importance in our body? Uh, so first we will discuss how skeletal muscles are involved in the movement of the skeleton. Okay. By parts we will discuss it. So first we will discuss the skeletal muscles are involved in the movement of the skeleton. Okay, how skeletal muscles are involved in the movement of skeleton. So when bones move at joints, definitely all bones move at joints. We have elbow joints, we have knee joint, we have hip joint, we have shoulder joint. So they produce movements. The movements in bones are brought about by the contraction of skeletal muscles which are attached with them by tendons. Yes, we have discussed above the paragraph that tendons are tough bands of tissues which connect muscles to the bones. So the role of skeletal muscles are as following. So it is the role of as follows. One end of a skeletal muscle is always attached with some immovable bone. This end of muscle is called the origin. So now we will discuss the movement of skeleton. So the first point is that origin. This also comes as a short question. What is origin? Define origin. So one end of a skeletal muscle is always attached with some immovable bone. Okay. So when we talk about a muscle, if you see above the diagram, if you see this diagram, we had discussed that muscles are attached with bones with the help of tough bands, which are called tendons, and always one end of a muscle. Okay, you can see this is another end of a muscle. This is another end also. One end of a muscle always attached with the bone, which is immovable. So we can see this part of bone is immovable, but this part of bone is movable. So always when asked, so this point is called origin. This part of a bone is called origin. Now come to your paragraph. First point, one end of a skeletal muscle is also always attached with some immovable bone. This end of muscle is called the origin. I have shown in the figure. Other end of a muscle is attached with the movable bone and is called the insertion. And is called the insertion. Now I will go again on the diagram. Okay. So one end of the muscle attached with immovable bone. This part of muscle is called skeletal muscle is called origin, and the other part of muscle is connected with movable part. Okay, so this is elbow joint. This is a movable part. The other end of the muscle is always connected with movable bone. So this part is called insertion. This part of a muscle is called origin, and this part of the muscle is called insertion. I hope you understand the both points, what is origin and what is insertion. Okay, and these both are important as a short question, origin and insertion. So when a muscle is stimulated by a nerve impulse, definitely when your muscles began to work, we have detailed discussed in nervous system that our nervous system is consist of when we talk about nervous coordination. So two main parts of nervous coordination is our brain and spinal cord. So what is happen when brain and spinal cord send messages to our muscle? So when a muscle is stimulated, when it is ready for work by a nerve impulse, the nerve impulse, the message which comes from our brain or spinal cord. So because of that, it contracts to become shorter. Definitely, if we want to pull something, for example, we have discussed this example many times. If a child, if a crawling baby see a fire, it likes to touch the fire because it is bright, but when it go near to the, it immediately pull his hair. So at that time, when brain send message to spinal cord, and spinal cord immediately produce nerve impulse to send message to your hand. So when you contract, so when you pull your hand, when a baby pull his hand, at that time what will be happen? The muscle, which muscle? Bicep muscle. I also bicep muscles will be contract and become shorter and thicker. So due to this contraction, it pulls the movable bone at insertion. Okay, so this point I will clear you again with the help of a diagram. Okay, you can see this diagram. Okay, this is arm bone. Okay, and this is the upper part of a bone, and this is a elbow joint, and then there is lower part of a lower part of your arm. So when a crawling baby see a fire, okay, definitely it will attract and go to the fire. But when it go to, immediately brain send message to spinal cord, and spinal cord produce nerve impulse which goes to its skeletal muscle. This skeletal muscle, this is a bicep. So because of that, a person will pull his a crawling baby will pull his hand. So when it pull his hand, due to that, here contraction will be produced, and this muscle will become shorter and thicker. You can see in the diagram. So it will pull his hands at which point? The point of insertion. And we also have discussed discussed, the point of insertion is that where muscle is connected with a movable bone. Okay, so it will be produce contraction, it will become thicker. Okay, and then it pull his hand. So this is the combination of tendons and ligaments. Okay, so I hope you understand it this. Okay, when a muscle is stimulates, okay, stimulated means okay, when it began ready to work by a nerve impulse which is produced by brain or spinal cord, it contracts to become shorter. Okay, it contracts to become shorter and thicker. So due to this contraction, it pulls the movable bone at insertion. Now come to next part. Skeletal muscles are usually in pairs or antagonists. So the points which we have discussed in this paragraph, it is about how skeletal muscles are involved in the movement of the skeleton. Okay. Now we will discuss the next point. Okay. Role of skeletal muscles. Okay, how they work in the body. In which we will discuss different terms: antagonism, flexor, extensor, and their antagonist pairs and their working. Okay, so first we will discuss the antagonist. Okay, what is antagonist? You can see skeletal muscles are usually in pairs of antagonists. Yes, they always work in pairs. In an antagonist pair, both muscles do opposite jobs. So when muscle contract, the other relaxes. And this phenomena is known as antagonism. So this is very important, or antagonistic action. Okay, so this is very important. This can also come as a short question. Okay, what is an antagonistic action? Yeah, what define antagonism? So what do you write? You will write here in an antagonistic pair, skeletal muscles are usually in pairs of antagonists. If we take an example of our arm, the front muscles are called biceps and the ventral muscles are called triceps. So they are in pair, but they do opposite jobs. So both muscles are open. When one muscle contract, the other rest. So when biceps will be contract, at that time tricep will be relaxed. When tricep will be contract, then bicep will be relaxed. Okay, and this phenomena, this whole process is called by antagonism or antagonistic action. So when a muscle contracts and bends the joint, it knows as flexor muscles, and the movement is called flexion. So these terms are very important. Always in board exam, short questions come. What is antagonism? Okay, and second is then differentiate with flexor and flexion, or extensor or extension. So now I will explain you first what is a flexor. When a muscle contracts and bends the joint, it is known as flexor muscle, and the movement is called flexion. When a muscle contracts and straightens the joint, okay, it is known as extensor muscle, and the movement is called extension. So we will understand these terms. Flexor, the bending of a muscle is called flexor, and the movement is called flexion. And the when the muscle is straight, okay, then this muscle is called extensor muscle, and its movement is extension. We will understand with the help of a example: biceps and triceps. You can also see in the diagram biceps and tricep muscles. I would like to explain you with the help of diagram, then you can understand easily. Okay, you can see this is a bicep muscles. Okay, at that time this is a bicep muscle and this is a tricep muscle. Definitely bicep and triceps, they both make a pair which is called antagonistic pair of muscles. So what is antagonistic action? In which one, if one muscle is contract then other is relaxed, if one is relaxed then other is contract. Okay, now we will discuss with an example which is given in show. Okay, when bicep contracts, the forearm insertion end is pulled upward. Yes, this is true. Okay, when bicep muscle is contrast, so because of that we can see this is a tendon. Okay, and this is an insertion point because here muscle is attached with the movable bone. So at that time what will be happen, the forearm insertion end is pulled upward, so it will be pulled upward. You can see in the diagram it is flexion of elbow joint. So this point is called flexion of elbow joint. This movement is called flexion. Okay, and during this flexion tricep muscles are relaxed. We can also see at this point the tricep muscles are relaxed all the time, and during it bicep relaxes. Similar pairs working antagonistically across other joints provide forearm all the movements of skeleton. Now and the other side you can see in this diagram we can see bicep muscle is relaxed. Okay, so you can see tendons are relaxed. So this movement because it straight the joint, it has straightened the muscles, it has straightened the muscle joint. So this point is called extension. Okay, and you can see here tricep muscle is contrast, so because of that the arm will be pulled backward. Here the arm will be pulled upward, and in this action the arm will be pulled backward. So these two movements, so this point is called this is called flexor muscle. Okay, and this movement is called flexion. And here you can see this is called extensor muscle. Okay, and this movement is called extension. I hope you understand okay, what is the difference between flexor and flexion, and what is the difference between extensor and extension movement. Now you can also see the paragraph which is given above the diagram. First I have to explain you with the help of diagram. Bicep is a flexor muscle on the front of the upper arm bone. Biceps is a flexor muscle and tricep is an extensor muscle. You can see tricep is an extensor muscle. So both these muscles have their origin at pectoral girdle and insertion at one of the two bones of forearm. So what is their origin? Because they are connected with your, this is your pectoral girdle means shoulder bone. Okay, and their elbow point. Okay, so when bicep contracts, the forearm is pulled upward. So when bicep is contract, your forearm, this is forearm, it will be pulled upward. It is the flexion of elbow joint. So this movement is called flexion. And on the other hand, during this flexion, tricep muscles relax. When tricep muscles contract, so when tricep muscles will be contract, you can see in the diagram when it will be contract. So what will be happen? It is the so when tricep muscle forearm is pulled down. So forearm is pulled down. So this movement is called extension, and it is the extension at elbow joint. So during it bicep muscles relaxes. In this way bicep and triceps make up an antagonistic pair of muscles. Similarly, pairs working antagonistically across other joints provide for almost all the movements of skeleton. So now your lecture has been ended. I hope today you understand the role of ligaments and types of joints, role of ligaments and tendons, and the antagonism and flexor muscle and flex movement flexion and tricep and extensor muscle and the movement extension. I think you understand it. Now you on one topic is left in this chapter, which we discuss in our next class, and then we discuss this exercise, and inshallah then your chapter will be ended. Now students, I will not provide you answers of short questions. The things which we are studying, which I am telling you during the lecture, underline in your book. These MCQ, these short questions are important. You have to write short questions yourself.